Hi everybody, welcome to A World of Colour with Prism, the brand new range from Hunkydory Crafts. Today I'm going to show you how we can create some really cool hair and skin tones using our Prism markers. I'm going to use a super cool technique called flicking as well. So this is just the way that you actually apply the ink to your image. So first of all, for our skin tone, we are going to be using a selection of colours. So I've already picked out my 550, 515, 537 and 543. So all quite neutral shades of varying, sort of depth of colour there, and they're going to build up to create our skin tone. So I've actually taken these from our Prism handbook. I just show you in here. On pages 18 and 19 we have got all sorts of different skin colour combinations that we've put together. Now obviously you can recreate your own. On our website you also have this chart that you can download that you can colour in your own skin tone, so always just make a little note of them so you don't forget them. We also have hair, so if I just turn the page over, we've got all sorts of different hair colour combinations, ranging from our sort of brunettes and our blondes, we've got our redheads, we've got super cool fun colours as well, so we've got the pinks, purples and that sort of two-tone effect there as well. And to create our hair we're going to use that flicking technique. So here on page 30 and 31 we just have a comparison image for you. So we have this one that's been covered in with our sort of 3 colour pens, just give you that depth and dimension, which looks amazing, but just by changing the way that we apply that ink down on our image, it completely, it's a game changer. It looks so realistic, has added texture and depth, it just looks incredible. So we're going to combine all of these things together to colour in one of our faces. So on our chart you can get, these are the boy faces, obviously you can get girls as well, but we're going to take our skin colour tones first of all. So I'm going to start with my palest shade, which is my 550, and using my chisel end I'm just going to cover the whole face with this colour, this base colour. So go around the edges first of all and then just filling in the centre, and you'll find that when you've applied that first layer it's a little bit patchy, okay, but don't worry about that. We're just going to go in with a second layer and this just gives you a smoother starting point. It just gives you that lovely first layer. Now obviously we can leave it at that if you want to, that's absolutely fine, but we're just going to add some more shading into this just to bring it all together. So my second shade is my 515. So with my bullet tip this time I'm going to use this and I'm just going to apply it in the areas where you would expect to see some shading on the face. So with our handbook we do state that there's no sort of hard and fast rules. If you want to add shading you can do, if you don't want to you don't have to, and it's sort of down to you as well where you put it, okay, so don't feel that it's wrong, it's entirely up to you, so please don't worry. Then I'm just going to go in with our lighter shade just to soften the edges where the two colours meet, and already you can see that that's looking great. But we're then going to go in with our third colour, which is our 537. So again, ever so slightly darker, and that's just going to go over those shaded areas that we've done previously, but just a little bit less of it. So getting closer and closer to the edges of the face. And again, if you wanted to, you could leave it at that. But then I'm going to go with my 543 and I'm going to take this right in to the very edges. So almost outlining the hair there and the side of the face, and then this is where we go backwards. So 537, just running around the edges of there, just joining those two colours up, and the alcohol solution that's in the pen just helps to blend all these colours flawlessly and gives you such a professional finish. Then go back again with this shade around the edge, and then just to bring it all together I'm going to go back to our first shade again with our chisel tip because we're covering a larger area, and we're just going to go in and colour all of that face in again. And what that'll do, it just brings all those colours in and just gives you a really beautiful blend. So that's our face. Okay, so we can pop those away, that's all done. Moving on to our hair, I am using 539, which is our ginger. I'm using 547, which is our sepia, and I'm using 541, which is chocolate. So really yummy colours. So with our palest shade, first of all, again we're going with our bullet tip, and I'm going to turn my paper around. So this is a real top tip for this technique, is always turn your work around, not your wrist, because it can become very uncomfortable and very awkward. So starting at the sort of top of the hair, where the sort of crown is, I'm going to start with this flicking motion, and it is literally sort of put the pen down and then flick. Okay, and lift as you flick at the end. So you get sort of a wispy look to the hair. So just again turning your work around, because you don't want it to be uncomfortable. It's more natural if you can, you know, find the way that works for you, and then flick your card around. So then, because I'm going to just bring this up, again just work it around so it's comfortable. So doing it this way leaves some of these whiter areas, because obviously what we don't want is a real flat colour for hair, because hair does have texture, it has movement. Lots of people have lots of different colours within the hair as well. It's not all just one shade of brown. So with our next colour, we're going to do the same again and just bring your flicks up. So I'm not going quite as far as I did with our first colour. Just get those there, and again just turn it around. But we're still doing that exact same technique. So sort of pressing down and then flicking, okay? And try and sort of lift your pen up as you get towards the end of the flick, because then that gives you that sort of wispy tone to it. Again, don't worry about the white bits, because they're going to add to the sort of reflection and the shine that you get in hair. Okay, and then with our darkest tone, which is our 541, our lovely chocolate, we're going to go in again there and do even shorter strokes this time. You can mix it up and put some, you know, some longer strokes through, but if you can try and aim for all these one being a little bit shorter. And again, don't worry about the white, because that just adds to it. So I'll just turn this around so I can get the bottom of the hair up there. So you'll find your own colour combinations as well. So obviously we've given you the guide in the book, but you know, have a look at combining some different shades. Maybe you've got you know, some red tones in your hair. We've actually covered sort of black hair with reds and blues, you know, when you've got like that really dark black that's got that sort of red hint to it. So you really have a play around with your colours. So now with our palest shade again, so back with our ginger, let's just turn this around. We're going to try and fill in some of these whiter areas so it's not, it doesn't look like we've not coloured them in on purpose. What it actually does is it gives us that sort of reflection in there. Over here, I've missed a bit of our chocolate in this area. Sorry for all the turning, but it does definitely make it far easier for you to turn your work around. That's it, so just flip up and just this side here. And then I'm going to go back in with our mid-tone a little bit as well, just to, so it's something that you'll, as you're doing it, you'll think, oh, it just needs a little touch more of whichever colour, so just add those in. And because we're doing those strokes, it doesn't matter at what point you add them in. So, you know, if you had a bit missing here, you could just come in and add a few strokes extra there. It really, because it's sort of a unique technique every single time, no hair is going to look the same either, which is fabulous. So any little areas that you can cover up like that. I have just gone out my lines a little bit, so we'll just grab our blender just to touch on that technique and just push this back. So this is the blender pen. We have got a video on the website that tells you all about the blender pen, so make sure you check it out because it is pretty magical. But this is just one of the things that you can do with it, just pushing your ink back in if you've made any mistakes. And I have just noticed that I've not coloured his ears in. So we'll just get our 537 there, one of our skin tones, and just get his little ears. And there you go. So that's how you can combine all of those amazing skin colours, hair colours, and that amazing flicking technique just to give you that fabulous texture and dimension and that added depth to your image. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's such good fun colouring in with these Prism markers. You are absolutely going to love them. But make sure you head over to our website to check out more tips and techniques.